I want to talk first, I want to ask you first about fear itself. And you said that in politics, your party was becoming the party of fear. So let's talk about that. What is it that you fear, if anything?
Well, I mean, in that context, somebody asked me when I was at a demonstration, in Germany, and at the beginning of the pandemic, in August of 2020, and there are 1 million people there from all the countries of Germany, and it was like a kind of a Woodstock crowd. It was a very, very diverse crowd, and I was in the crowd shaking hands with thousands of people, and I was not at that time wearing a mask, and almost nobody was. And an NBC film crew were completely masked, approached me at that time, and they said, you're not wearing a mask, aren't you scared of COVID? And I said to them, well, there's things I'm a lot more frightened of than COVID. And they said, like, what? And I said, like, my children growing up in an America where there's no constitutional right. If we allow ourselves to be manipulated by fear, we will lose everything that we value.
Well, one of the things you've written is that fear has been stoked to provoke mass compliance. So is fear itself the biggest issue facing America right now?
I don't know if it's the biggest issue, but it has become weaponized by elements within the technocracy and in the kind of corporate kleptocracy to engineer compliance of Americans with things that most people would not put up with under normal circumstances. Censorship. We all know that it's wrong, that there's never been a time in history when the good guys have been the ones who are censoring people. And so Americans know, innately that that the government is not supposed to censor us. And yet we put up with it. We said, okay, those guys are scaring us and we need to shut them up. And, the Constitution doesn't have a pandemic exception. The First Amendment doesn't have a pandemic exception. And, the Constitution was written for hard times.
So you mentioned the